So I want to start off first with just understanding a little bit about your journey. Your company stands as one of the most established 3PL providers in the industry today. Could you walk us a little bit through the 4-decade journey that you've had from inception to becoming the industry leader that you are?
Okay, so our history as a company, or prior to that, before I started Greenway Transportation in 1982, I moved to Phoenix in 1972. After a bunch of my friends were in the Vietnam War, I just come out of college, and I was always wanted to be in the transportation industry. I was also a musician. I didn't want to be involved in an industry that required me, that took away the music part of what I do. So I was initially offered a job by American Airlines. They wanted me to work the air freight division at Los Angeles International Airport, but I had to work nights, which I didn't, so I refused that. I ended up actually walking in on an interview. At that time, everything was in newspapers. So there was an ad in a newspaper for a company called Wilson Cohen, Wilco Transportation, that was based out of Nashville. I walked in, and that's actually how I got my job. They had other people who were sent through hiring agencies. They said they determined because I walked in and asked for the job, that's why they hired me. We had 6,000 trucks. We were in business with 52 offices in the United States. And I was the rental manager in the city of Phoenix. Then I was transferred to Dallas, which I lived there for 2 years. It was a time of big change in the transportation industry. At that time, there was almost no brokers at all. I think when I started in this industry, I think there was less than 10 brokers in the United States. There was a lot of carriers. There was what they called common carriers and contract carriers and farm carriers. All that's pretty much gone in the industry and doesn't exist anymore. But anyway, I worked for Wilson Cohen. When they transferred me back here, we were bought out by Ryder Transportation. Nothing against Ryder because they're a big company and done a great job, but we went from 5,000 odd plus or 52,000 trucks to 104,000 pieces of equipment overnight. And for me, I didn't do well in the large corporate format. You're talking to people that didn't really respond, which kind of how integrated into changes that Greenway had almost immediately when we started our own business. In the transportation business, then I went from there. When I was in the leasing business, I met different people that were going into the brokerage business, which I then got hired by them. And I was very fortunate in the fact that I met 3 mentors. A man in Mississippi named Morris Staten, a man that was involved, one of the largest onion buyers in the United States was named Gary Harney, and another man named Tommy Arbuthnot that was over in Los Angeles that will handle a lot of the onions on the West Coast. Those people had a huge effect on me from my mentorship program, told me the things to do and not to do. The brokerage industry at that time was the Wild West in the United States, so much so that 60 Minutes, yes, these 60 Minutes on television, did an expose on the brokerage business, and the bad apples were in it. And ironically, the worst state in the nation for bad apples in the brokerage business was Arizona.